King, here I come! Hello, sports fans, sports collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I'm your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490am.com. Your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast.
With this pass rush, defenders in the secondary, like Eddie Meador, had an easy afternoon. Despite constant readjustments, the Colt defense could not maintain a consistent rush, and Gabriel had plenty of time to throw. The Colt front four rarely touched Gabriel. Even when they did, he usually got the ball away.
On the telephone line, I welcome in former LA Rams NFL player and, in my view, one of the top 10 safeties in NFL history. We welcome in Eddie Meador. Eddie, Brian C., it's an honor to have you.
Thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure to be there.
Eddie, you were born in Texas, all-star high school football player in Arkansas. If you could take us back to the time in your life when you got the call or notice to play for the NFL.
Well, it was my senior year in college, and I was fortunate enough to get to play in the Optimus Bowl game, which was a game in Tucson, Arizona, that pitted the major college All-Americans against the small college All-Americans. And I guess one of the scouts with the Rams liked what he saw, and from that point on, we had a meeting with him and with the officials of the Rams, and they wound up with me in the seventh round of the draft, and from that point on, I just loved to play the game, and it was enjoyable. For me, it was a real experience.
Right, and you mentioned you were 7th round pick, 80th overall by the Rams in 1959. Take us back, if you can, Eddie. You know, what was it like to step on the field for the very first time as a rookie?
Well, it was... I tell you, there was more people in the stands in an exhibition game that we had in Los Angeles. There was more people in the stands than I had played before in 4 years of college put together. We had 100,000 people, and I think that had to really concentrate to concentrate on the plays that were called and everything. Because of the noise, but it was really something for me to be in front of that many people at one time.
Now, you started your first year and was voted as Rams Defensive Rookie of the Year, and you performed in the George Allen era. If you can give us a little taste of what it was like to play for George Allen.
I tell you, George Allen was he was the type of fella that when you say good morning to George Allen, he says, "You boy, you better watch that Raymond Berry. He's tough." And that was his answer for good morning. He was strictly a football man. It was just unbelievable. He was worked as hard in the classroom as we did on the football field, and he was probably he was my favorite coach of all of them, and he just he was a winner. He wanted ball players to be winners too. So it was great.
Now, Eddie, you were known as a player who had great speed, excellent tackling abilities. You were all-time Rams interception leader, I believe 46 career interceptions. and fumble recoveries leader at 18. What unique talent you had that allowed you to be that dominating?
Well, one of the things was that was the front four defensive linemen that I played behind, the fearsome foursome, Deacon Jones, Lamar Lundy, Rosie Greer, and they were super ball players, and it was just a real honor, and I guess that's one of the reasons that maybe picked up a few fumbles and everything. That, but it was playing behind those guys were a complete honor. I'll tell you for sure.
And you mentioned the fearsome foursome. There were other teams that claimed to be the fearsome foursome, but you played for the original fearsome foursome. You mentioned Deacon Jones, Olson, and those iconic players. Anything that you can tell us, that you learned from them watching them play? Did they give you advice? We watched the movies of ball games and everything that constantly, and you pretty well got an idea of how those four players played, and of course George Allen was a defensive coach with the Chicago Bears, and he handled our defense, and it was just Deacon and Lundy and Olson and Rosie. Those guys were just phenomenal. They were just fantastic ball players. Yeah, and Eddie, and one of the reasons why I put you on my top 10 all-time NFL list for safeties, you were also a diverse player. I mean, you played every position that you were told to play. You were a punt returner when used in that role. Was there any positions that you found difficult learning?
No, not really. When I first started with the Rams, I played. They played me at the corner position, and that was like I said before. Raymond Berry was one of the top receivers in the league, and covered him a lot of times, and but when you're out there by yourself in a spread position, you gotta really concentrate on that particular player, and I guess I was fortunate to have a little bit of speed, but there was some of those guys that who had some tremendous speed at the same and then they know where they're going, and I don't know where they're going. And one of the things that I like a receiver like Raymond Berry, for example, he wasn't real fast, but he had a lot of moves, and of course Unitas had the ball in the air before Berry ever made his final cut, and that's why they were so successful at that time. And then you got a guy like some of these guys that were so fast, it was just unbelievable. And you got to have put a linebacker in front of them to slow them down a little bit, before they get going full speed on me in the backfield.
We're talking with the legendary Rams, Eddie Meador. Eddie, 1964, you were voted MVP of the team. You participated in bowl games 1961, then 1964 through 1966. In 65, you averaged 28.5 yards per return. Any special Pro Bowl moments or memories which stand out in your mind?
No, not really. I can't think of anything. Of course, that's been doggone. That's been several years back since the last time I played, and I guess you kind of forget some of the things that do go on. But I think that they guys. I keep talking about the Baltimore Colts, and of course at that time Johnny Unitas was the man, the quarterback, and he was a tremendous ball player, along with the rest of their team also.
And another man who you admired was the great Bear Bryant. And, before being a coach, Bear Bryant played offensive end and was defensive tackle in college. And another great coach, the great Tom Landry, was a position player before being coach. A question I have, after your retirement, did you ever have thoughts of becoming an NFL coach?
No, I really didn't. I didn't think of that much at all, really, because I had some investments going in the real estate business, and I was primarily interested in that.
And you also played, Eddie, with some of the greatest players we know today in NFL history. In your opinion, who was the best player you played against or with?
Well, I'll tell you what, Roman Gabriel was one of them. And he was a tremendous quarterback, I think, and of course he was a big man and strong and could throw the ball, I'll tell you for sure. But and Don Meredith was a good one. With the Dallas Cowboys, he was one that I looked up to, and I did like Don because every once in a while he would throw me a ball. So I had several interceptions against Don Meredith.
Amazing. And then just to show you how great you were, I mean, you were also captain of the Rams, correct?
Was what now?
You were also captain of the team.
Oh yeah. It was George Allen picked me to be a captain on the defensive team, and that was quite an honor right there.
So, I want to mention this website. It's edmeador21.com, edmeador21.com. Fascinating website. Give us a little information about that website, who put it together, and what can the audience see when they log on to edmeador21.com?
Well, I have 4 children that and my daughter. I have 3 boys and Vicky, my daughter, and Vicky and David, my 3rd son, got together and they put this thing together, and it is quite good, I think, and I'm getting a lot of response from Ram fans and football fans, in fact, asking for sending me little cards and pictures and so forth to be autographed and all that. And I guess probably I'm 83 years old, and I probably am getting more requests for autographs at this point than I ever did when I was playing football. And it's all due to, I think, with the website that those two guys, two kids of mine, put together.
And you mentioned autographs, and as you know, the business world of sports cards and memorabilia, it's so popular. And, you know, something that I always thought of, in 1964, Eddie, the Players Association, NFL Players Association, they signed a 4-year contract with the Philadelphia Gum Company and the rights to produce football cards. You know, this was back in 64. Now, you know, your picture is in many of those 1960s cards. And I wanted to ask you, do you recall taking photos for those trading cards, or recall the first time you saw your picture on a football card?
Never thought about having them myself. Well, you know, what's really interesting, I guess some players actually charge for autographs and pictures and stuff like that. But what's happened is the people that I'm getting autograph requests for is people who have bought the cards at different locations and send them to me, and so I like I say, I'm not really interested in trying to collect money for them. And every once in a while there'll be someone that puts a $5 bill in the request letter or whatever, you know. Makes you feel good. Anyway.
So all the fans listening to the program, my hobby base fans listening, they can log on to your website and they can, just send you an email requesting for an autograph.
Right.
Sure. All right, and then I know many of your peers, including myself, they say you belong in the Hall of Fame. Do you feel that opportunity will ever come?
Well, I don't know that it ever will. It certainly would be nice if it did happen, and but I'm not really counting on it, and I'm not going to be disappointed if it doesn't.
And what do you think of today's game? They make outrageous amount of money, correct, compared to when you played?
Let me tell you my story. In 1959, I was 7th round draft choice, as you mentioned a while ago. And when I signed with the Rams after that time, like I say, I'm a 7th round choice, and my contract for the first year in 1959 was $7,500. I got a $500 bonus to sign, and so I made $8,000 in 1959. Of course, now I realized that the dollar bill at that point was a lot more than it is now, and like I said, boy, I was going to buy me a brand new car and everything, and I bought a new Chevrolet station wagon, brand new one, and for gosh dang, I don't remember, maybe $3,000 or something like that. So it's just as time goes on, things are a lot different.
And football has always been entertainment, but it's really become an entertainment spectacle. There is so much money being generated with television contracts and so much merchandise. It's really a shame that the old timers never made what they deserved. To be honest.
Yeah, and what's really discouraging also is the fact that we have a NFL retirement program, but it's very, very small as compared to what these guys are making nowadays.
So I have a few minutes left, and I wanted to ask you, when you retired, Eddie, you mentioned you got into the real estate business. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you open up your own business at the time? Did you enjoy the real estate business?
Well, I had a friend in California that he was in the real estate business, and he and I did a lot of partnerships together, building office buildings and things of that nature. And so we didn't really have a real estate office. Now, when I moved back to Dallas, I did have my broker's license and had a real estate office with it. At one time I had about 30 agents working for me, and it was a lot of fun. But it wasn't in the commercial end of it. It was primarily home sales. And
do you keep in contact?
That was enjoyable.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eddie. Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Do you keep in contact with any of your former players?
I tell you, there's not many left.
Right.
I see Rosie Greer once in a while. Of course, Merlin Olsen, Deacon Jones, and Lamar Lundy, all three of those fellows are no longer with us. Roman Gabriel is, I see him once in a while. He lives in North Carolina. And I tell you, that's pretty doggone close to all of them that's left.
Well, I just want to go over some of these accomplishments. As I mentioned, 64 voted MVP of the team. 1965, you averaged 28 and a half yards per return. Bowl games you participated in, 1961, 1964 through 66. You were Sporting News chose you, Sporting News, to all Western Division teams in 61, 64, 65 through 69 seasons. By 1970-71, you held the all-time Ram career interception. You were the leader with 44. You were winner of 8 of what's called the Yay Old Ram Awards. You were, as I mentioned, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro selection, 68-69, 3-time second-team All-Pro selection, 60, 63, 67. All-decade team. You were considered one of the top Ram players in the all-decade team. And it's really an amazing career, Eddie. You definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. We got to push for that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and it would be nice, I'll tell you for sure.
Yeah, and then even your college, you were inducted into the Arkansas Tech University Hall of Distinction in 1969.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Awarded the NFL Father of the Year in 1969. Awarded the NFLPA the Byron Whizzer White Award, 1969. Elected to the Helms Athletic Foundation Sports Hall of Fame, 1972. I mean, this is a legendary career.
Well, it was certainly enjoyable, I'll tell you for sure. I would do it again anytime.
Well, I have 1 minute left, and I appreciate your time, and you stay safe. How are you coping, with this these crazy times today, with this crazy pandemic?
Well, I tell you what, I'm staying around the house, working in the yard, and doing all that kind of stuff, and we're just doing what we can possibly do. That's for sure.
Well, you stay safe, my friend, and I'm going to mention the website. It's www.edmeador21.com. Fascinating website. Your history is included in that website. Really well done, put together. I thank you so much for your time, Eddie.
Brian, thank you very much for having me on.
It was an honor. You take care. Be safe.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. That was former L.A. Rams great and hope to be a future Hall of Famer. Deserved. The great Eddie Meador. Until next week, happy collecting to all.